about the Stanley Cup final. I think that was the time when the Red Wings and Penguins were frequently meeting up in the finals, and they were alternating the cup between the two cities. I'm going to just go with that one.
All right. Carl.
I'm just, I guess I'll sum it up in one word, Jake. Ditto.
All right. I like it. Short, sweet, and to the point. 5-0 those 2009 Stanley Cup finals advance. Now, this upcoming game, was actually probably 4 hours, considering it went to double overtime, the 2003 BCS National Championship, a game in which 53 of the 100 players in that game went on to play in the NFL. 53 out of 100 between Ohio State and Miami. Ohio State won in double overtime. You had your controversy with the phantom pass interference call / was there a pass interference call that should have been called? It's back in 2003. You can watch the YouTube clip for yourself and judge for yourself.
I like pass interferences.
And Noah, big fan?
I'm a big fan. As a Buckeye fan, I'm a pretty big fan of pass interferences.
Is a double overtime BCS National Championship game going to be topped by a 7-game Stanley Cup series in which, again, a team down 3-2 came back to win. It was the Colorado Avalanche this time against the New Jersey Devils. The culmination of the Avalanche winning Game 6-0 and winning Game 7 at the Pepsi Center 3-1. Noah, do you have something you would like to say?
Okay, so it's not so much the amazing game. I mean, you get the double overtime. That's amazing. First of all, when you've got Krenzel at quarterback, you shouldn't be in that situation. But of course, Maurice Claret, great, and that Jim Tressel, great coach as well. That's of course the start of Youngstown boys. That's when everything started to get a little sketchy, really at Ohio State. But it was still an amazing national championship, double overtime. Not to mention, Miami was without a doubt the favorite by a good margin. I'm going back right now to
Miami by 11.5.
By 11.5. Yeah, that's a pretty decent margin. A team that was ranked number 1, undoubtedly. There was a question whether or not Ohio State would have actually played in that game, and they did. And they went out there and won it in emphatic fashion. If you go back on the pass interference, Miami started celebrating. They ran onto the field, thought they had won, and had to be called off because of the flag. And, of course, Ohio State would go on to win. It was an amazing moment.
Yeah, it's... every sort of play, when it's really good, kind of just gets a very basic name, and you capitalize nouns that aren't proper. There's the catch 2, the catch 3, the tackle. This is simply known as the call, which sounds like some weird horror movie that somehow involves Halle Berry. 1-0 in favor of Ohio State Miami. You give me double overtime, you give me referee controversy, you give me an underdog win, and you give me, by the way, 58, as a matter of fact, of 100 players, including 18 NFL first-rounders in the same game? What more can you ask for? Give me Ohio State over Miami. I'll put them up 2-0. Carl?
Well, you made the comment, could it be beaten by a 7-game Stanley Cup Finals? We'll see later on, but definitely not this Stanley Cup Finals. When you look to this, none of the final 3 games were within 1 goal. I mean, you only had 2 1-goal games throughout the series. And yes, Patrick Waugh finally got his cup and played absolutely fantastic throughout the series. And, this was the big, bad New Jersey Devils empire coming into this. There's some good storylines, but it just doesn't even come close to the excitement at moments of the college football game.
Brendan Albertson, I know you are not a college football guy, but are you also not a double overtime guy, not a 58% professional guy, and not a referee controversy guy?
I love overtime, don't get me wrong. This college football game clearly beats the Stanley Cup Final. As you just mentioned, the phantom pass interference call. Ref controversies are something that I like. unfortunately, you hate it when refs. I think they have the power to want to get involved in and decide the outcome of the game. So I'm just going to go with the college football game.
All right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, double overtime in a national championship, that's never happened. What else can you ask for?
Well, this is sounding like a near perfect candidate, and even though they are a 6th seed, we could see them emerge at the top. The final first-round matchup, and because we're nearing the 90-minute mark, is going to be our final matchup of tonight's show, is between the 11th seed and the 22 seed. Super Bowl 49. A good one. The Patriots came out on top in this one. There's the call, but there's also a call that could be called the call here as well. Personally, this couldn't have ended better for me.
Boy, Pete.
I
love you, Pete.
There was a fight that broke out at the end, which caused America to hate both teams. I really wanted both these teams to lose. I'm sorry. Pete Carroll ended up being completely disgraced, which, as a UCLA Bruin fan, made me very happy. This couldn't have ended better for me. What the rest of the panelists think, we'll see. That final score, 28-24. But the 2002 World Series, this was also pretty high up there in terms of perfect endings and comebacks as well. This was between two California powers, the San Francisco Giants and the Anaheim Angels, before they were the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And I could describe it to you, or I could just read off the scores of these games. 4-3 Giants, 11-10 Angels, 10-4 Angels, 4-3 Giants, 16-4 Giants, 6-5 Angels, in which they came back from down 5-0 in Game 6 in the bottom of the 7th and the bottom of the 8th. And Game 7 was Angels 4, Giants 1. These are two pretty solid series going at it. Brendan.
Yes. I clearly picked Super Bowl 49 over that recent World Series, most in part because the interception in the final seconds by Malcolm Butler, securing the win for the Patriots. It was just, I was really nervous at that point. I was like, what's going to happen here? Luckily, we got the interception. I was all nervous. The Seahawks are going to score. We're going to lose the game again, like we did to the Giants in a couple years ago. But that game was awesome, especially with the numerous Brady to Gronk touchdowns. So I'm going to have to put the Super Bowl over that World Series.
All right, 1-0 in favor of Super Bowl 49. Chris.
Well, first, Brendan, I like the timing, putting on that Brady jersey.
Yep, free Brady.
Yeah, all right.
Hashtag free Brady.
I've already forgotten about the Super Bowl. I'm trying to get Tom Brady out of this, but that Super Bowl, immediately after I watched it, I thought to myself, this might be arguably the best Super Bowl of all time, because it's old dynasty versus new dynasty. It came down to the very end. The Patriots down 10. I thought they were out of it, being the pessimistic fan I am. They came back, and that Jermaine Kearse catch, I was like, here we go again, and that was just a stupid catch. He kicks it in the air, and then Malcolm Butler, God, that interception, and the images you see Butler, crying, tears of joy, pointing to the heavens, and Richard Sherman making the old sour grapes face made my night. Oh my God, just seeing him mad like that, and I think it got a lot of people happy. Richard Sherman doesn't have too many fans outside Seattle, and that game had to have a lot of fans out. People had to love that outside the fan bases.
I have to say, I'm a Packer fan. I have every reason in the world not to like the Seattle Seahawks. Talk about ref controversies. I like Richard Sherman, but I did say that was the perfect ending for me in that game. Noah, Was that ending satisfying enough for you?
First of all, I'd like to say this. I don't have that much hate for Pete Carroll. Honestly, I just don't have it at USC. But there's a lot of coaches that have done a lot of questionable things.
It's the fact that he was the USC coach.
Yeah, but he also USC.
No, it's not the fact that he did that. Jake could hate any USC coach.
I understand that.
I'm sure Mr. Steve Sarkisian is a very nice man.
There are also Michigan people that I don't dislike, to be honest. Like, I like Jalen Rose. The only Michigan person I think I like. Look, I think that the call was questionable. I mean, whenever you're trying to run the clock down with a pass, okay, maybe I should coach.
Trying to run the clock. They were trying to give themselves time. It actually makes sense.
They were trying to run the clock down. If you heard the coach said he was trying to run the clock down. Literally. Basically word for word.
Literally, basically, word for word.
Literally, basically. And metaphorically. And theoretically. All in one. And on the other side, in the 2002 World Series, great World Series. But as much as I dislike the Patriots and the Seahawks, though I do like the swagger the Seahawks have, that game, it was a roller coaster. And maybe it's because it's more recent and I have a memory of it that it really gives me a little more emotion. But I really enjoyed watching that Super Bowl. So I'm going to have to go with the Pats over the Seahawks.
Carl?
I don't know what much more I can say. One thing, though, is I will probably have to argue this later on, and I'll probably just argue with this Noah off the network. But I'm not against Carroll's call. But we can argue that another time.
Carroll's call was the offensive coordinator.
Argue that another time. I pick the Super Bowl.
Okay, well, I guess for the first time then I'm going to be the only one voting against the pack here in the final one, because I think it should be pointed out that this was the original Cardinals-Rangers Game 6. This was Anaheim trailing 5-0. 8 outs away, the Giants were from winning their first World Series since moving to San Francisco. And Anaheim, at home, came back to win it 6-5 and didn't even need the bottom of the ninth to do it. Barry Bonds had already been selected as the World Series MVP during that travel day. And they were about to give it to him. And then everything changed. And then the Angels go on to win Game 7. They were the first AL wildcard winner to win the World Series. They were the first team to win the World Series, despite scoring fewer runs than the opponents. And Dusty Baker's 3-year-old son was the bat boy for the San Francisco Giants and had his life saved by one of the players on the Giants in Game 5. Even a 16-4 game had a memorable moment. So I fare well to this great series. I'm sure they will do quite well in the losers bracket. A lot of high scoring, a lot of close games. But 4-1, that moves on. And so with that, we are finished with the first round. And again, this took a lot longer than we thought it would. So we are going to cut it short here. But before we do, I'll give you a preview of what are the next matchups. Remember, it's double elimination. So in the losers brackets, this is do or die. We'll have the 2014 College Basketball Championship face the 2011 BCS National Championship between Oregon and Auburn. We'll have the 2005 NBA Finals between the Spurs and Pistons against the 2008 NBA Finals between the Lakers and Celtics that the Celtics won. We'll have Super Bowl 47, the Giants-Patriots rematch, against the 2013 Stanley Cup Finals between the Bruins and the Blackhawks. We'll have two more Super Bowls going at it, the Patriots and the Panthers in Super Bowl 38 versus the Patriots and the Giants in Super Bowl 46. Oh, my apologies. This one is the Giants-Patriots rematch. Super Bowl 47 was the Blackout Bowl. We'll have the 2006 Stanley Cup Finals that went the distance between Edmonton and Carolina going up against the 2014 BCS National Championship game between Florida State and Auburn. We'll have two 2003 events go against each other. The 2003 World Series between the Marlins and the Yankees versus the 2003 NCAA Basketball National Championship between the Syracuse Orange and the Kansas Jayhawks. We'll have the 2013 World Series against the 2014 World Series. I wonder who will win that one. The 2001 Stanley Cup Finals